Hello and welcome to another adventure. So today we're going to have a quick look at how I plan and prepare for my rides, how I find green lanes and the tools that I use to plot my routes and the devices that I use for navigation on the bike. The first thing that we're going to have a look at is the actual tools I use to find routes and plan for routes. Generally, one of the first places that I go to is the TRF, so that's the Trail Riders Fellowship Green Road Map. And this is generally a good starting point, especially if I want to get in some off-road sections, some green lanes. So the Green Road Map is not a bad place to start. It's not a bad little tool. It's fairly accurate, and it's getting better and better every day as the various responsible people for each area are adding information to the Green Road Map. And so you can see here we've got a map of England and Wales, and all these green bits are the byways that and some unclassified roads that I can go and ride. So let's say, for instance, I want to go on a trip to Thetford. I can go to the Green Road Map and I can quite easily find all the off-road bits, or the green lanes or unclassified roads, depending on what you want to call them. So they're there on a map and easy for me to find and plan a route. Probably the most valuable tool I use is an Ordnance Survey map. So I tend not to use actual physical paper maps anymore these days. I use the Ordnance Survey desktop device, and which is what we're on here, and I just think it's a brilliant thing. It's got every bit of mapping for anywhere in England and Wales, and I say if I want to go and ride over on Salisbury Plain, I can just quite easily let's go down here, Salisbury Plain area, and straight away I've got all the OS mapping I need, and I can go out and find some nice byways by using the OS map desktop. It's a brilliant bit of kit. You get all the maps, from big road maps down to 1 in 25 thou Explorer maps, and the level of detail is brilliant. All the information's there, they're up to date. A fantastic tool. If you've not used Ordnance Survey maps before, I strongly recommend you invest some time in researching about OS maps and the information that's on there and how to use them and so on and so on. I will cover in a bit some of the key features that we look for on an OS map and when we're finding trails, but there's a lot of information to learn on Ordnance Survey maps. For me to cover everything about an OS map today would just take forever, so I'm not going to cover it all. But I just want to mention that they're just fantastic, and if you don't know anything about them, then maybe now's the time to do some research, watch some YouTube videos, and learn how to use an OS map. In conjunction with an OS map, one of the other key tools that I use is Google Maps. So I tend to use Google Maps just for clarification of bits of off-road section that I might be wanting to use, so a byway or a unclassified road. I use Street Viewer and Google Maps to clarify the type of byway that I'm looking at. So is it or isn't it rideable? Is it a byway open to all traffic, or has it got a traffic restriction order on it? I'll come on to those in detail a bit later on. Another vital resource are councils' own websites. So every council has to have a website and give information on public rights of way in their area. So the Essex website is really good. They've got a great definitive map. So a definitive map is a map that is definitive and says what a particular bit of footpath, byway, bridleway is, and what are the public rights of way. So every council has to show these and display these. So the Essex one, as I've said, is really good. The Essex one has an interactive map, so you can go to their interactive map and you can look for byway. So this is the byway symbol here. You can see over here on the legend it's saying byway is a dash and a dot. So I can click on that and it tells me everything that I need to know about this particular bit of byway near Clare. It tells me the length of it and the parishes that it's in, and so on and so on. So it's just a really useful tool. There are some other things as well that you might find handy, like for instance there's a website called Bike Hike. So Bike Hike is similar to the Ordnance Survey desktop in that it's a mapping tool, and you can use this to plot routes and turn them into GPX files, and then you can transfer those GPX files onto a device. So this is free. It's not quite as easy to use as the Ordnance Survey desktop version, but for a free bit of software, you know, I can't fault it. And so if you're not prepared to pay for the OS Map app, then maybe you should look at something like Bike Hike. There are other tools, but you know, I've never used them because I just like the Ordnance Survey app and desktop tool so much. You know, for me it's a no-brainer. It's 25 quid a year, so I just pay it and I use it. But bikehike.co.uk is a good one to use if you're looking for a free version. So there is also the Green Lane Association, or GLASS. They're more geared towards four-wheel drive vehicles as opposed to bikes, but you can join GLASS, you know, and GLASS are a great association. They do lots for the green laning community and fighting to keep green lanes open. You can join GLASS. I think it's about, it's £44 a year, and if you join GLASS, you get access to the Trailwise app, similar to the Green Road Map. But as I understand it, the Trailwise map is just a bit more up to date and is just a bit more user friendly. So let's just look at where we can legally ride our bikes off-road. Well, first of all, we're not actually riding off-road technically. Some people get, you know, really get the knickers in a twist about this, saying, oh, you're not really off-road, you're still on the road. Yes, technically, when you're green laning, you're still on the road, which is why you need insurance, why you need a number plate on your bike, and your bike's got to be fully legal. So, but for, you know, just for us talking here now while we're doing this video, if I say off-road, we all know what we mean. We mean green laning, yeah, and you're off of the main road. But technically, you are still on the road. So if we look at Gypsy Lane here, this is a nice little green lane near me, or a nice little off-road section. Gypsy Lane here is a byway, or what is also known as a boat, a byway open to all traffic. And if you look at Gypsy Lane and you look at the symbol, it's kind of like green crosses. Yeah, so it's a kind of a dashed line, like a byway, like a bridleway symbol, a dashed line with a complete cross going over it, so it forms a cross. So that is a byway. Whereas if we look at Church Lane over here, Church Lane is those green dashes again, but it hasn't got a complete cross. It's just kind of alternate little half marks either side. So that means it is a restricted byway. So straight away I know I cannot ride my bike down Church Lane because it's a restricted byway. Whereas there's a good chance, if I didn't know, that I could ride my bike down Gypsy Lane because it is a byway, a proper byway. And then if we continue on down Gypsy Lane, we eventually come to Back Road. And the symbol for Back Road is this sort of clear or white track with green dots on it. And that is the symbol for an unclassified road or a green lane. So again, unclassified roads or green lanes are places where I can legally go and ride my bike. If I now zoom out to a 1/50 thou scale, you can see that the colours change. So on a 1/25 thou map, the byways are green and the unclassified roads have green dots. If I then zoom out to a 1/50 thou scale, you can see the byway now is pink, so it's pink crosses, and the unclassified road or green lane now has pink. So this is what we're looking for when we're trying to find new trails and byways and green lanes. Where can we go? So I get my OS map out, and I'm just looking for these, for byways or for green lanes, which are, like I say, these sort of white tracks with pink dots or green dots on the 1 and 25 thou map. So we've decided we want to go for a ride around Thetford Forest, let's say. So I'm going to go to the Green Road map, go to the Thetford area, and then zoom in and find the green lanes. I'm on a Mac here, and the magic mouse and the zoom wheel is just so annoying. You can turn it off, but just for demonstration purposes, it's easier for me to leave it switched on. So I've decided, right, looks like there's a car park here, so yeah, maybe I could start my ride there where I'm at. So this is West Stow, so there's a green lane that goes up from there, looks like a byway. Yeah, so let's start in West Stow. So I'm going to go to the Ordnance Survey desktop tool. I want to start in West Stow, so let's find West Stow. Type that in. Okay, just going to drop a pin in the West Stow area. Yeah, so I can remove that. I don't need that. Yep, so it looks like car parks here. Zoom into the 125 to get the extra detail. Right, so let's create a route. So on this tab, click on this here, let's routes, create a route, off-road route. Yeah, and I want plot on. So wherever I click now, it's going to drop a waypoint and start creating the route. So starting the car park here, I'm going to ride up the road to here, and then I'm going to go up this byway here. Okay, so you'll have noticed that this byway, not only has it got the sort of cross symbol, but it's got a diamond symbol as well. And the diamond symbol on an Ordnance Survey map just means it's a particular waymarked route, a route with a name. And so this is the Icknield Way. So that all that means is with a diamond is it's the Icknield Way. It doesn't mean anything else extra. So I haven't got to be mega accurate here because the route is, I'm going to follow the road on the ground. So I'm just, just for speed, I'm going to keep dropping some pins to create my route. Right, so where am I going to go from there then? So I could then go up this bit of road. I could then turn left and go down here, down this byway here. To the end there I need to go, yeah, then I want to come down this byway here. All the way down. Back down to the end there. Yeah, so the byway then goes down here. I could come down this bit of byway, do a right back down to the main road, and then I could come down the main road. Yeah, there we go, and then back to where I started. So once I'm happy that I've created my route, I could then save that route. So just open that tab back up and then save the route. What am I going to call it? Let's call it Thetford. Oh, we don't spell Thetford like that. Thetford mini route. Only me means that only I can see it. If I click everyone, it will save it onto a cloud, the route, and then anyone looking for a route could see that route and then potentially use it. But I tend to save things only me. And obviously route description, you could just put some details in there, a little bit more information, especially if you are going to share this route with others. It might be handy to put stuff in there. But in this case, I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to save that. So now my route has been saved. Okay. Now if I go up here to the back to the menu and routes and my routes, it will then list here all of the routes that I've got saved onto my OS mapping system. Yeah, so that will be on the desktop here or even on the app on my phone. So at any point I can pick a route, I can go back to a route and I can modify that route. So I click here on modify route, and say for instance what I often do, because the default setting is to make the route marker, or this line that is in between the waypoints that marks out the route that you're going to take. The default colour of that is this sort of red colour. So what I often do is I change the style of that. So I change it to a colour blue, I change it to the thicker line, and I turn the transparency down a little bit just to make it a little bit more visible when I'm on certain roads, because as you can see down here, this road here is coloured red. So if I've got red over red, it gets confusing, where there aren't any blue roads, only rivers that are blue or bits of water. So I just find that handy for me, but obviously you can pick any colour that you want that you find works for you. So then I can just save that route, and it has been saved with the changes. Once I click save, it automatically saves the route to any devices that I use that has got the OS Map app on it. So I now haven't got to plug in my phone or my tablet or anything to then upload that route onto a device. It does it automatically. So this is one of the things I really love about the OS Map app, is I can do my planning on my nice big computer screen, I can see things clearly, and then click of a button, I save it and it sends it to my phone automatically. And if I update it either on the desktop or on my phone, it saves it to all the devices with the updates. What I can also do once I have created a route is I can export it. So here it says export GPX, so I can click on that and it has saved that now to my downloads folder, so I can share it and send it to other people or use it on other devices. So let's just have a look on my phone. So I'm going to open up the app and make sure that the route we just created has been saved onto my phone. So I'm going to close that, go to the menu, click on routes, and there it is at the top of the list, because it's the latest route that I created, is the Thetford mini loop. So I can click on that and then the app opens it up there to see. I mean, what could be easier than that? You create it on the desktop, nice big desktop, you can see everything, see what's going on, and then once you've saved it, it saves it to all your devices. It saves it to your phone or to a tablet, whatever it is that you've done, and then you could go on from there. You click on start the route and then use your phone to help navigate. But I'll come back to this. I'm not going to cover this particular feature and using the phone and navigation right now. Let's say then you want to plan a new route and you want to go somewhere different, but you aren't a member of the TRF, so you haven't got access to the Green Road Map, but you want to go for a ride somewhere new. And we all know there's loads of byways down in the sort of Salisbury Plain area, as you can see here from the Green Road Map. So let's say we want to go down to the Salisbury Plain area, but we haven't got access to the Green Road Map. So how do we go about checking that the byways we want to use are safe and legal to use? Obviously, we know that looking on our map will show us the byways. So using a 1 in 50 thou or 1 in 25 thou map, we can zoom into an area and it will show us all of the byways that are in a particular area. So just at random here, I'm finding some byways here. So the Monarch's Way here, for instance, looks like a byway. See, it's got that diamond symbol again, as I mentioned before in the previous video, which just denotes that it's a marked way, and in this case it's the Monarch's Way. So say for instance we wanted to go and find the Monarch's Way and ride the Monarch's Way, but how do we know it's safe and legal to ride it and there aren't any restriction orders on it? So what I did just a couple of seconds ago was I just Googled Wiltshire definitive map. So as I mentioned before, every council has to have a definitive map and display it so that people can easily see what are their legal rights of way. And the definitive map is definitive. So the good thing about this is you might be down a lane and you get into a bit of a discussion, let's say, with a walker or somebody on a horse. And you know, I'm generally just very courteous and nice to these people. But when they start telling me I have no right to be there, you know, I like to be the one that says, well, actually, you're talking bollocks. I have got a right to be here. And then I'll get out my map and I'll show them. And if I can show them other information as well that helps educate them, so I can say, look, why don't you have a look at the definitive map for the local council here? And generally most people are pretty pleasant, and you know, in my experience I've not had a lot of trouble, but you're bound to meet the odd person every now and again that thinks they know it all, and often they don't. So I had a quick Google and I found the Wiltshire Council's website. I found their definitive map. So just let me go back here. So look, I googled Wiltshire definitive map, and then it came up with this, look, Wiltshire Council Rights of Way Explorer. So great. So I've clicked on that, and like the Essex map earlier, it's another digital interactive map. So this is the first time I've seen this, well, 2 minutes ago. And here you can see on their interactive digital map, it is showing me all the public rights of way. So I know, because I just had a quick look, that purple is footpaths, and brown is byways. So brown with a green dot are byways with some form of traffic restriction order on them, and brown are just regular boats, byways open to all traffic. So over here we've got the legend, and it says rights of way, click to expand. So I'm going to click there. I want to see the traffic restrictions. I want to see the public rights of way. What do I want to see? I don't need to see restricted byways because I'm not going to ride down them. I don't want to see the bridleways. I don't want to see the footpaths because it's just confusing. So there we go. That leaves me with all the bits of information that I do want to see. Right, so let's see if I can quickly find, just by using the map, boundaries. What are the boundaries? Community parish, Wiltshire boundary, because that will, right, so there is the black line telling me where the border is. What is it over to this side? Hampshire. So it shows me where the boundary is, and hence the other side of the boundary I'm not going to get any information because Wiltshire Council aren't responsible for it. So here we go. So I could put in and enter an address or postcode. So what was that there? So let's look for, is that called Pitton? Yeah, Pitton. So let's go back to this. Bear with, caller. Pitton, Wiltshire. There we go. Right, okay, so yeah, brilliant. So again, the zoom wheel on this bloody Mac is annoying. So there we are. So we can see here, so there's the byway, look, there's the Monarch's Way. It's brilliant as well that this Wiltshire one is an Ordnance Survey map, which, excellent as far as I'm concerned. Right, okay, so let's say I want to go and ride the Monarch's Way or a bit of the Monarch's Way. I can clearly see from this definitive map what I can and can't ride. It's showing me there in really easy to read format of all the byways, which are, as I've said, are the brown bits, and then I can refer back to my my map on my desktop on my OS Map desktop feature. So there's the Monarch's Way on here, and here's Pitton and Middle Winterslow. So yeah, so from here I could then go on to plan a route. So you can easily see well, you can clearly see how easy it is to plan a route from here on in. If you know where you can go because you're using the council's definitive map, and say for Wiltshire it's a really obviously a really easy to use definitive map, you can then easily plan a route and you can see where the byways are, and then you don't need the brains of an archbishop to then know, right, well, where do I want to start? Well, maybe I want to start near a campsite because I'm going to camp down there. Well, look, there's a campsite here in Pitton. So you could do a bit of Googling and maybe find that campsite, or you're going to park in a town because you've got a van or a bike on the back of a trailer, and then you're just going to plan your route from there. As well as clarifying using the local council's definitive map, I can obviously just have a quick look, and I tend to do this because it just means I've had a little bit of a sight of what the entrance to the byway looks like. So I'll still sometimes use the Google Map tool. So I'll go, let's go to Pitton, Salisbury. Yeah, so let's get rid of that now so I can zoom out. Yeah, so let's look at the map. Right, so we've got this main road here. So I'm looking for this, say here's the byway here, near that junction there, which looks like it's here. So let's go to aerial view. Yep, so there we are. So there's the alignment of the byway. You can see it clearly there. So if I drop my little man there now, you can see, yep, so there's the byway. There are the gates. Look, there are no signs saying no entry. There are no farmers' signs saying no access, because sure as eggs is eggs. If the farmer didn't want you to go down there, there'd be something to tell you that you couldn't do it there. I can't see that sign there. It's too small to see what it says on this little sign here. But that's obviously the byway there. And to be double sure, we know because we've checked, because we've used the council's definitive map. So there you can see the alignment of the byway there, where it goes straight across over the main road there. So it does take a bit of research and a bit of planning to do it like this, but you're bomb-proof, you're going out, you're being safe and legal, you've done the decent thing, you've checked, and yeah, it's not as easy as using something like the green map, which if I zoom into here, it will quickly show us all of these bits a bit easier, and it's not going to take quite as much finding out. Yeah, so there it is on the green map. There's the Monarch's Way, and there's the alignment of the byway. You can see why the green road map is a handy thing, because it just saves a lot of faffing around, and generally it's accurate and it shows you that you're safe and legal. But if you don't want to be a member of the TRF and you want to do it the sort of cheaper way, let's say, then using an OS map and using the council's definitive maps can be a great way just to make sure that everything you're doing is safe and legal and going to keep everyone happy. A couple of other things I just want to quickly talk about are, well, firstly I want to talk about unclassified roads. So as you can see here, and as we've been talking about, the definitive map for Wiltshire shows us the byways, and the byways with traffic restriction orders, which are these brown routes with a sort of turquoise greeny dots. But definitive maps don't cover unclassified roads. So we've obviously got a byway here, and then running from Winterbourne Bassett here, we've got an unclassified road. Now they're covered not by the rights of way team, they're covered by the highways team for the local council. So it's these bits of unclassified road that I tend to end up ringing my local council about for clarification, because finding TROs on them and the status of them can be quite tricky. You can obviously, this is where you might want to use Street Viewer. So that looks like it there. So if I if I drop my little man just there, so that must be it over there. So this looks like the end of the green lane here, and you can see from this sign it says unsuitable for motor vehicles, and there's a gate. So normally if there's a sign like that, it says to me that it is open to traffic, because that is a council sign. It's not a sign a farmer's put up, and it doesn't say no entry, it just says unsuitable. Obviously you can see there's a gate and there's some logs here, but without a bit of local knowledge or further investigation, it's difficult for me to say. But this is the sort of scenario where I use Street Viewer for a bit of clarification. Also, Street Viewer comes in handy for checking on traffic restriction orders and looking for signs. So as I've mentioned, we can see on this definitive map here, there's a TRO on this section. So if I click on it here, so it comes up and it says it's the Ridgeway. So the Ridgeway is a popular route, and you can see it says it's all motorised vehicles from the 1st of October till the 30th of April. So that's the TRO. It's a temporary TRO. And just to sort of, sometimes if you can't find that information, this is where Street Viewer comes in handy. So I'm just going to drop the little man at the end of the byway. So that's the other way. Yeah, so the byway goes up here. So we can see the signs here, look. So here we've got the TRO sign, the restriction sign, no vehicles, and then you can clearly see the dates on there, 1st of October till the 30th of April. Something interesting to know is that Street Viewer does go down some of the easier to navigate byways. So you can see here, this is the Ridgeway, and we can go for miles and miles down here on Street Viewer, checking out the route. So this is handy if you're on a big bike. You know, if you want to take your big GS down one of these lanes, then Street Viewer is handy for this, for just doing a bit of a quick Street Viewer recce. But obviously we still need to do all the other research to make sure there aren't any TROs and everything's safe and legal. So just before I came out, I created a new route on the desktop on my nice big Mac. I created this short little route, and once I've created the route on the desktop, it saves it to all of my devices. So it saved it to this iOS phone, it's put it onto my tablet, and I've just bought a new Android phone which I'm about to fit on here to replace this, because using an iPhone on this bike keeps shagging the camera. So it saves it to all those devices, and that's just with one subscription. So the 25 quid a year, and I can use it on those different devices. I could put it on my wife's phone as well, so she can use it. Anyway, so I'm going to open up the app. So this is the OS Map app. It's obviously mounted nice and clear for me to see here using this Adventure Spec little mini fairing. And one thing that you want to do is tell the phone not to turn the screensaver on. So my screensaver won't come on, so it's always showing me the map. So if I press this little button here that's like a crosshairs, if I press that, it takes me to exactly where I am. So I'm going to zoom in. So I'm just here, I'm near the church in Hitcham. So I'm going to go into my menu, and I'm going to go to routes, and so this is this little route I created earlier. So I'm going to click on that, and then it's going to ask me if I want to download the map. Now if I download the map, it will save the map onto my phone, and then if I lose my phone signal, I will still be able to navigate. So theoretically I could turn off, I could put my phone into airplane mode, and I will still be able to navigate. So I will download the map just to show you. So that's just downloading the map, and then it's also asking me if I want to start the route. So I'm going to click on start route. So now I've clicked on start route, it's telling me the distance and the time it expects me to take it. Disregard that, because that depends on the parameters that are set in the phone. So I'm just going to zoom in, and what you get with the iPhone, as far as I can gather, because I'm just trialing this, just testing this new Android phone, but you definitely, with the iPhone, what you get is when you click on the crosshairs, you get that the phone doesn't stay where you are. So at the minute, the map will just, as I move, the map won't stay with me. Whereas if I press the crosshairs button, it centers on me. And then if I press it again, the map changes its orientation relative to the direction I'm traveling in. And then you get this little compass symbol up, and then if I press that compass symbol again,
it goes back to normal, so it's not tracking me. But I want it like this. So this is how I normally have it. So the northing of the map will stay pointing north, and the arrow will stay in the middle of the page, and the map moves. And the arrow points in the direction that my phone is pointing, which is handy because you can move around to select the, you know, you come to say 3 tracks and you're like, right, which one do I want? Is it there? It just makes it a bit easier. Anyway, so I've just got to ride up the road here and then I can start my route. And it's saying it's got a distance of just over 4 miles. So let's crack on. Now when I was planning this route, I quickly had a look on the green road map, and the unclassified roads that I'm about to go down are marked on the green road map. So this goes to show that the TRF are updating the map and are steadily putting all these unclassified roads on there, which is really, really useful, because when I first started green laning I was only looking for byways, but in actual fact in my area there are quite a few unclassified roads that are rideable. And it just improves the amount of trails that you can, or increases the amount of trails that you can go and ride in any particular area immensely. So it's worth knowing where the unclassified roads are. I've seen some YouTube videos where people are recommending that you use Byway Map to help find green lanes and off-road routes, but bywaymap.com doesn't show you the unclassified roads, and it's not up to date with regards to what is rideable and what isn't, reference traffic restriction orders. So Byway Map is of some use, but it's not all it's cracked up to be. Wow, really windy today. I feel the wind blow me about. So as you can see, I'm now just following this blue line on my screen on my phone here. The arrow stops in the middle of the page and then the map is moving around underneath it. It really does make navigating so simple. And then when you get to a bit that you want to see a bit more detail, you can just obviously zoom in or zoom out depending on the level of detail you want to see. One of the other really useful features that I like on the desktop OS map is that they've got this 3D fly view, 3D, try and say that again, 3D fly through feature. So you can click on that and it will show you the route that you're about to do in 3D, and it runs through like a little fly through of the actual route, and you could obviously record that. You could do like a screen record as it plays, and then you could use that in your YouTube videos or whatever, you know, if you're doing some epic journey, you're doing all the tech and you want to show people some of it and, you know, spice up your video. I mean, that's a brilliant little feature. And it's handy as well, because I do a lot of walking and mountaineering, so it's handy if you're going with someone who's not too keen, and you can just show them the route and say, oh look, you know, don't sweat too much. Thank you. You know, it's not going to be too bad a route. The sun's right in my eyes. What you've just got to remember when you're coming up towards a junction is you've just got to give the phone a little bit of time to catch up. So I've got a feeling it must be down here, yeah. So here we go. So there's the green lane. So as I turn, look, the arrow on the screen is moving, and it's saying it's now pointing in the direction that I'm pointing down the trail. So let's crack on. It's a nice little bit of green lane, this. Probably quite muddy today though. I've had absolute dramas finding is some decent winter gloves that are touchscreen compatible. But I've eventually got some gloves in Decathlon, good old Decathlon, never let me down. And they're only 40 quid. Waterproof, touchscreen compatible. Oi. Oh, only just bloody cleaned the bike. Okay. So you can see we've got a bit of a sort of dog leg down here. Right, rookie. Yeah, so we've got a bit of a dog leg down here, and this is where you might want to zoom in to see the detail. I generally find this app so easy to use and so easy to follow, and I've not had an issue with it yet, but yeah, I think it's a great bit of kit. So, right, so it's obviously down here. Let's crack on. It's a bit muddy down here today. Right, let's just have a look at this then. So, so this black line here, that is a fence line. That is the symbol for a fence line, and you can see the track. It comes along, and then there's a sort of T of fence line, and the track goes through the fence line, and that's what you get with the extra detail that you get with the 1 in 25 thou map. 1 in 50, it's pretty difficult to see that. Well, you can't because it's not there. Because the fence lines aren't on the map. So this is the beauty of the 1 in 25 thou. It really does help you with that that detailed navigation, and I can clearly see that the track goes through the fence line where the where the 3 hedges meet. Yeah, so here we've got a hedge here running straight across, and then one going up the hill there, which is that one there. So I know exactly where I am, and yeah, it couldn't be easier. And then we can see that the path goes off through there. Okay, let's crack on. It's probably going to get quite muddy down here. Right, so basically it now goes off to the right and over a bridge by the looks of it. Yeah, there we go. Ha! Wow. Wow. That is deep. I am not going to ride through that today. I've no idea how deep that is. So I think I'll walk the bike over the footbridge. Only just fits. Right, okay. So right here. One of the things that I've noticed since I've been using this app and I've switched to a dual sport bike is that I'm just getting off-road so much more and finding so many new interesting places to go. Okay, so we're here at this junction. Thankfully we're not going right, or we're going left and then up this this bit of unclassified road here, Nova Scotia Lane it's called. Right, so left and straight up there. bright. So this is genuinely the first time I've been up this bit of road. I have absolutely no idea what to expect. But I did have a quick look on Google Earth, and I did have a look on Street Viewer, and and it looks like a fairly simple lane. But this is the advantage of having a light dual sports bike or an enduro bike. You can just go anywhere, and you're not worried that you're going to get yourself into a pickle. Alright, so we're nearly there. Okay, so that's it. So as you can see there, we've reached the end, and then once I've done, I can save that. So if I click that and then click finish, it will save it, and it will save that into the phone, and then I can recall up that route at a later date. So I just click done. Okay, so that's the route done. Now I've only really scratched the surface of the app and navigation in general. There's so much more to it, and I couldn't cover everything in this video. It would just take forever. So really the best thing to do is do some research. The Ordnance Survey YouTube page is pretty good. I'll put a link in the description to some useful stuff that you might want to have a look at.
I have tried to make this video a definitive guide on green laning and trail riding, but it would be impossible to fit everything into such a small video. So maybe now's a good time to do some further research. I'll put some links in the description to some other websites that I think are worth looking at, such as the Ordnance Survey YouTube page. I'll put a link to using the OS Map app and using their online desktop feature, which is a brilliant tool. I find it's really easy to plan routes using the desktop feature. And the app, I just think it's brilliant. I use it all the time. I mean, I don't just use it for trail riding, I use it for walking, all sorts of stuff. So I think it's worth the money, and it's simple to use. I didn't cover things such as uploading GPX files to the app, but on this video I'll leave a link to it. It explains it all in there, and it's worth looking at. Don't forget, the definitive maps are definitive. So if you go onto a council's website and have a look for the definitive map and get the information that you need to find out which trails you can and can't ride, you can't go far wrong because they're definitive. So that they're just a really helpful tool. Now, not all councils have got a great website. I mean, the Suffolk website is outdated, to say the least, but there's a phone number. I ring people up, I ask them questions, and they're always really helpful. But some online definitive maps are really useful, such as the Wiltshire website or the Essex website. Perhaps thinking about joining the TRF. I mean, I'm not getting paid by the TRF to say this, and I've only been a member of the TRF for less than a year myself. But I just think for the money it's worth it, and they do some great things and keeping trails open. So, I think the money's worth it, and the green roadmap is just an added bonus. It does make planning routes so much easier because it's easy to see where you can and can't go and get off road. Another thing to consider is the TET. So that's the Trans-Euro Trail. So if you're not sure where to go and ride, perhaps do part of the TET. The TET essentially is a route which I think it's in something like 33 different European countries, and it's a road and off-road route, and it's just a predetermined route in various parts of Europe. So say here in England and Wales, it covers the south of England, the West Country, Wales, Yorkshire, north of England, and you can go to the TET website, you can download the GPX file from the TET website, and then you can upload that to the OS Map app and just use the predetermined route that the linesman, as they're called, at the Tet has given us, and we can, you know, go off and just navigate along the Tet, and they've got a great community online on Facebook and via their website, chat rooms. Yeah, so if you've not heard of the Tet, maybe check it out. It's a great thing. Now, the last thing I want to say is there are no secret routes. Since I got into riding off-road and green laning, and you ask people about, oh, where do you ride? And it's all a big secret, which I don't understand, you know, because there are no secret routes, because the routes are out there. They are on maps. Byways and unclassified roads are there for all to see. So if you know where to look and you know how to use a map, you can find the routes yourself anyway. So why people make a big thing of it, I don't know. I guess some people are afraid that people are going to go out there and just trash the route and be disrespectful. But I think the other side to that is if they don't know where to ride, maybe they'll just go and ride where they're not meant to ride at all, which is even worse, I think, because then it just pisses people off even more. And in certain places, certainly in Suffolk and Norfolk, you know, at times they have a no questions asked or no forgiveness policy, and they take your bike away and it gets crushed. So, you know, I don't want to see that. I'd just sooner people were riding where they're meant to ride, and, you know, and we all do the decent thing. So, yeah, I'm not a fan of keeping things secret. If anyone wants any of my routes, I'm quite happy to share them. So the last thing I want to say is I hope this video has been helpful to you. And if it has, maybe leave a comment, you know, or add to the conversation below, or ask me a question. I'll be more than happy to help. Perhaps if you have liked it as well, give me a thumbs up, because that always helps. It encourages me to make more videos. And better still, maybe consider subscribing to the channel. Safe riding, and I'll see you soon on another adventure.